Good afternoon and welcome to this month's episode of Lunch with Haley. We're going to get started here in just about 5 minutes. While you're coming in, while you're getting comfortable with Lunch with Haley, I'd love it if you actually found your way to the chat window, something that I do just about every talk I give. Find the chat window here on Zoom and just let me know where you're dialing in from. It can be a little bit secluded when you're giving a webinar over Zoom and you can't see everybody else. So, like I said, find that chat window for me. And we're going to get started here in just about 5 minutes. But first off, tell me where you're dialing in from. We got Peggy from Toledo. Peggy, welcome to Lunch with Haley. Appreciate you joining me this afternoon. We got a couple from Stillwater, from Lexington. Good to see everybody. I'm going to ask another question. How familiar are you with AI? When you think about AI in your day-to-day operations, are you using AI consistently? Are you afraid of AI? How does it intersect with who you are as an individual? Let's use the chat window for that one too. Amy says she knows enough to be dangerous. I think that might be a common theme for the entire talk. To be honest with you, Amy, we're going to talk about exactly that in a little bit here. So I appreciate that comment. You're going to tee that one up for me really, really well. Like I said, we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. If you're joining the question that I had posed to the people who had been here a little bit before you, first off, you're not late. You're just on time. We're just getting started a little bit early here. Where are you dialing in from? And also in the chat window, how familiar are you with AI in your day to day? Are you consistently using it? Are you afraid of it? Heck, do you think it's going to take your job? I think that's a good question that we should probably talk about as well. Emily uses it daily. Not sure if it's making me smarter or the opposite. I think that's a real good comment too. Are we becoming a little bit too dependent on AI? It's a good question and something that we could talk about throughout the presentation as well. Hey, while you're joining, I want to make sure that you're aware of Smart Ideas 4. Going to give you a real quick plug for Smart Ideas. If you're not familiar with our all-day session, it's going to happen in September. Forgive me, I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, and I should have put it on the slide. But Smart Ideas 4, essentially TED Talks for the staffing industry. 7 hours, 14 speed talks, priceless ideas. You do not need to attend the entire day. I'm going to be honest with you. I love everybody who's presenting. I'm not going to be there for the entire day. That is a lot of Zoom for me. But on September 17th, you can sign up and join Smart Ideas 4. Point your phone right at the QR code on your screen here. It'll take you right to a landing page where you can sign up while you wait. You got a couple minutes before Lunch with Haley is going to start anyway, so why not get it out of the way? But again, Smart Ideas 4, we have 7 hours of speed talks that are going to happen from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. on September 17th. I want to thank Magezi for putting that in the chat for me. Again, countless takeaways that you're going to have from people that are working at Haley Marketing, what we're seeing, and countless ideas from individuals outside Haley Marketing. So again, you can point your phone right at that QR code and you can register while you wait here for today's Lunch with Haley. Also, if you don't know me, my name is Brad Biley. You may have been expecting to see Brad Smith and Jeff Gibson today. I apologize. You got me instead. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. But we're going to be talking about how you can intersect and use AI in your day-to-day and whether or not it's going to be an existential threat to the staffing industry. If you don't know who I am, I host a show over here at Haley Marketing called Insights and Take the Stage, which are part of the Secrets of Staffing Success podcast umbrella. It's the leading podcast for the staffing industry with over 175,000 downloads. I'm super proud of the success that we've seen. And I would love it if you subscribed and listened. Hey, David's in the chat here saying that I have a gray box on the lower right portion of my screen. Magezi, I know you're my eyes here from Haley. Can you confirm or deny if that is also on your screen? Magezi is also seeing it on the lower right corner of my screen. I want to be honest, friends. I don't have it on my screen. Alrighty, let's try one more time. Slideshow. We're going to share screen too. All right. How about now, chat? What do you see? Gray blocks, gray box still. Friends, I'm gonna be honest with you. I appreciate you seeing it. Um, I don't know what it could be though. Hang on one second. Let's see what I can do here for you. Let me ask you this. Was there on the desktop, not on the PowerPoint? Hmm. I Greg says it's in the middle of his screen. Hmm. Magezi, where is it on your screen? Is it taking away? Sometimes if you stop sharing and share again, it'll disappear. Look at this tech support for lunch with Haley. I appreciate y'all. All righty, let's try one more time. We're gonna stop sharing the screen. All right, we're not sharing. Look at this tech support. All right, share screen one, because that's where y'all are located. And slideshow. All right, chat, let me know. David saying it's gone. John saying it's gone. Haley's saying it's gone. Haley's got it in the top right. Everyone else has it's gone. All right. Good enough? Let's keep it moving. Look at that tech support. You tell everyone, hey, find the chat window. Let me know where you're dialing in from. How involved are you with AI? You give the chat a ton of questions. Nobody responds. Something as small as a gray box, and we got dozens of people saying, Brad, just stop sharing your screen. So I appreciate everybody. My name is Brad Biley. As I mentioned, you may have been expecting Brad Smith and Jeff Gibson. They're not here today, but you do have me. I'm going to talk about AI and the future of the staffing industry. I know y'all know where the chat window is at this point because everyone was telling me how my screen was being blocked. So I want you to get involved in the chat. Let me know if you're using AI, and let me know real quickly how much of your day-to-day AI is playing a role right now. Would you say that you are a beginner as it comes to using AI in your recruiting, in your sales, in your personal life? Or heck, are you using it for everything and you're not even sure you're human anymore? I would love it if you use that chat window real quick and let me know. Ton of beginners. Almost 50% of my day is using AI from Zach. Gina, beginner. John's just starting to use it. A lot of beginners. Guys saying about 15% of his day. Holly's using it all the time for work and personal. Kirsten is using it daily, but wants to use it more. Greg using it for blogging and lead generation. Greg, might call on you in a little bit here. Would love to know what you're doing specifically for those specific solutions. We're going to talk about that shortly. Mark's using it sometimes. Dave is on and off again. Rozzy's beginning to use it a little bit more. And John, minimal use of ChatGPT. Dave's admitting that he needs to use it more. And Aaron, Aaron, you might have to give this presentation instead of me. If you're using AI to build apps and assist your recruiters and team, you might be just as qualified to give this presentation, my friend. So I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you leave with a couple of takeaways. A lot of people are beginning to use AI, and we're going to talk about that. If you are not using it yet, if you're just joining today thinking, hey, I keep hearing about AI, I know it's sort of this buzzword. It's okay. You have not missed the boat. It's okay. We're still docked in port. It's going to take off soon, but we're still here. Some housekeeping. As I've said a few times now, conversation is encouraged. We are over Zoom. I cannot see you. I apologize for that. It's just the way Zoom works. If we were in a room together, you could raise your hand, you could shout out, you could do whatever you wanted to do to get my attention. I'm going to rely on the chat window specifically. I have that up on my second screen. If by chance a random gray box pops up again, let me know. If by chance everything looks great, let me know as well. But please consider these ideas more tools in your toolbox. I am not here today to say you need to change everything you're doing. I will never give you that advice. But hopefully, over the next 45 minutes to an hour, you'll be able to leave with a few takeaways, a few action items to at least start to integrate more AI into your day to day. I'm joining you today by way of Buffalo, New York, what I consider to be the greatest city in the world with the greatest football team in the world. A little bit about me. Outside of Haley Marketing, I've worked in professional lacrosse for 8 seasons now, working as the game day coordinator and social media producer for the National Lacrosse League. If you at all follow the National Lacrosse League on game night, there is a real good chance that anything you see across Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram comes directly from me in my home office in Buffalo, New York. On your screen right now, you see my wife and my son, Bryce. We also have a baby girl on the way. Love to put them in every slide and every talk I give, to be honest with you, just to keep me a little grounded here and make sure that we understand why we're here in the first place. And if you haven't had the chance to see me talk at a previous conference at Haley Marketing, I currently sit as our director of digital, and I have the distinct opportunity to travel the country and talk to individuals like yourselves on how you can deploy more digital recruitment and heck, even AI in your day to day to drive more job orders and more applications. Friends, I want to give you a real quick disclaimer. I am not and cannot be your crystal baller. And if you are by any chance a Third Eye Blind fan and you understand the reference, then we can be friends here today and we can continue on this navigation talking about AI. If there is anybody in the world who is going to first admit and put their hand up and say, listen, I don't know where we're going, it's going to be me. And if there's anybody that you talk to in terms of a consultant or any sort of expert who says, hey, this is where AI is going to be in 5 years, I would encourage you to run the other way from that person. We don't know where this is going to go. To be honest, we don't know where it's going to be in 5 years. I don't know where it's going to be in 5 minutes. There are things that change so rapidly in this space that my hope for you today is that we can talk about sort of where we're at right now, maybe use this as a little bit of the State of the Union and talk about what I'm seeing specifically. I don't know where AI is going to be. I don't know what's going to be down the road. I don't think any of us do. But I do know a couple facts and truths about AI as it relates to my day to day, and I hope I can share those with you. I want to start by talking about the elephant in the room. Is AI an existential threat to the staffing and recruiting industry or a huge opportunity to gain market share? Friends, before I give you my take on that, I'd love for you to use the chat window and let me know what you think. Do you think AI is going to take your job in the next 5 years? Let's say that. A lot of no's. Amanda with an enthusiastic no in all caps. A lot of no's, a couple nas, a few nopes. Wow. No, 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 no. It will create opportunity. Mark, good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Doubtful, doubtful. No, not my job, but it could allow teams to do more without expanding headcount. Margaret, very, very nice and very interesting comment. Of course not. Jay's thinking it's ridiculous to even consider that. Jay, welcome. Good to have you here, buddy. I think it's going to take people's jobs who are not using AI. That is incredibly interesting. We're going to go down that path in a little bit. Recruiting is a people industry, but all the menial tasks can be reduced with AI. It will if you're Phil and Bill. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I can see employers attempting to use it with no success. Very good. So the overwhelming majority is no, AI is not going to take your job. And the reality is, in my mind, friends, it's really up to you. And only you can answer that question. Is AI an existential threat to the staffing and recruiting industry? Yes, it's a threat for those who are reluctant to change. It's a threat for individuals who say, listen, this is the way we've always done things. This is the way we are going to continue to do things. Unfortunately, those are the companies who, with or without AI, might still not be here in 5 to 10 years as it is, right? Change is going to happen. Whether we think about AI, we think about what others are doing in terms of digital recruitment marketing. When we think about just the landscape of business, your businesses are not operating today the same that they did pre-COVID, right? Businesses change, they mold, they adapt. We need to be thinking, okay, how can this become an opportunity for us? So in my mind, yes, AI is a threat for those who are reluctant to change. It's also an opportunity for those that embrace change. There are probably 30 to 40 individuals in the chat right now saying that AI is not going to take their jobs. Those of you today see AI as a massive, massive opportunity. There are also close to 200 people on today who see AI as an opportunity. And I know that you see AI as an opportunity because you're here today to learn from someone like myself on just how you can use AI a little bit differently, how you can challenge the status quo, how you can challenge what you're doing today to think about, okay, how might I do things a little bit differently going forward? Again, there's the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset individual will always see it as the way that it is. The growth minded individual will always see the opportunity that lies ahead. For me, in my specific seat, in my specific day to day, I'm with the chat on this one. I think that AI is a massive opportunity. I think when you picture AI as a tool, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, so I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself. AI is an opportunity to move better, faster, stronger. It's an opportunity to work alongside and have direct support into your day to day. But as I said already, the reality is only you can answer that question. Whether or not AI is an existential threat to the staffing and recruiting industry comes down to whether or not you have that growth mindset or that fixed mindset as it comes to how you function in your day to day. So, really, it comes down to who you want to be. It comes down to who you want your organization to be as you move forward. Do you want to accept that, hey, this is the way we've always done business and this is the way we will continue to do business? Or do you want to say, okay, here are our challenges, here are our obstacles, also, here are our goals and opportunities. How might AI and how might the adoption of AI best practices allow us to overcome those challenges and reach those goals? That, my friends, is up to you. Hey, real quick, before we get into a few more talks about AI, I want to tell you about Take the Stage, a podcast here from Haley Marketing, where I have the opportunity to bring on innovators and thought leaders from throughout the staffing and recruiting industry. We talked about the secrets of staffing success as we were getting started. Podcast over here at Haley Marketing. I was flying to NAPS in Jacksonville last year, and I learned about the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve shows that just after 1 week of learning new materials, the average individual forgets 90% of what they learned. And I realized that we're flying out to conferences. We're sitting on seminars and sessions and webinars like this to gain as much information as we can. Yet 1 hour after that, 50% of information is lost. And 1 week after, 90% of that information is lost. So I have the opportunity to speak with some of the individuals, top thought leaders and content creators and consultants from throughout the industry. And I hope you would subscribe to the Secrets of Staffing Success so you can get that show every other week directly in your preferred podcast player. All right, let's continue talking about AI. Amy in the chat, I just want to real quickly note this. Amy said, AI won't take our jobs, but people who know how to use AI will. Amy, I think that's a really strong point, and I think that's a really good take. When we think about leveling up ourselves, when we think about optimizing our day, having the tools at our disposal to be incredibly productive and successful allow us to have a leg up on the competition who does not utilize those resources, right? So AI won't necessarily replace the recruiter, but to Amy's point, and I think I would agree with this take, the recruiter who does embrace AI might replace the recruiter who does not. I think it's a real good take, and I appreciate you sharing that in the chat. I had Trisha Tampkin from More Essentials on the podcast earlier this year, and she enlightened me with this methodology and this framework, and I have since quoted her in just about every single talk that I've given. So she was on Take the Stage a few episodes ago, and she came up with a framework, and she truly has this as a sticky note on her computer screen where it says, how can AI support me in insert task here? And friends, when I think about AI in the staffing and recruiting industry, this is the perfect mindset that we need to embrace. Too often, I see individuals try to force fit a solution. They try to force fit a tool into their workflow, only to build out a tech stack that is so robust that they don't use any of the tools effectively. So instead of seeing and greatest shiny object, whatever it might be, the flashiest new tool, you go to something like Staffing World where there are hundreds of exhibitors and something catches your eye because they have a real good talk and they have a really good booth that catches your attention. Instead of force fitting that solution, we need to think about how can AI support me in insert task here. And what I would truly encourage you to do when I think about my day-to-day and I think about your day-to-day, think about your day. Maybe do this tomorrow. Now, maybe don't start it on a Friday. Let's start on Monday. Start with your Monday. And as you're going through your day-to-day from 8 to 12, break for lunch, 1 to 5, whatever it might be, on a sheet of paper on the side of your desk, write down every single task that you do. It's going to take time, but humor me. Write down every single task. And then write down whether or not you believe AI can support you in that task. At the end of this presentation, we're going to go through 3 different tools that I found in preparation for today's talk that directly help in the recruiting space. Maybe those tools are good fits. I'll be the first to admit that I am not an affiliate. We do not collect royalties on sharing any of these tools. I just thought they were cool and I wanted to share them with you. But the thought is, how can AI support me in insert task here? I'll give you a perfect example in my day to day. If you're familiar with who I am, maybe we're connected on LinkedIn. You see that I post a video every single day from one of the podcasts that I host. That content is cut from AI tools. I use video, I use Opus, whatever it might be. We record that long form video, and then AI chops that up into smaller bite-sized videos and clips. Now, at the end of the day, I have final say what goes out onto my profile. So I'm reviewing all of that before I click go and publish. But the heavy lifting is first done, and the first cut is done through AI. Then we can manipulate that. So when I'm thinking about, well, how can AI support me in insert task here? For our post-production team to go through a 45-minute video and clip 15 to 20 highlights might take a day to do, right? They have to comb through the video, watch it. They have to mark timestamps. They have to cut it. There's a lot of work that goes into that. We're using AI to make that better, faster, stronger, so that then we can come back in and edit and manipulate. I'm gonna go to Aaron here in the chat. It's a really good practice. AI can't do jobs, but it can do tasks, and it can do some tasks really, really well. If you break your workflow down to the most granular tasks possible, you can get much bigger sense of what AI can do for you. Aaron, I love that thought. And that's exactly what we're speaking on here, right? It's not necessarily alleviating the role of the recruiter or the role of the sales rep, but you know for certain there are tasks and there are things that you need to do after this webinar that you don't want to do. Friends, let's talk about maybe booking a meeting with a candidate. There is nothing worse in my day than when I need to coordinate calendars with somebody else. So I use a tool like Bookings. I use a tool like Calendly. I'll send you a link, pick a time that works best for you, and we can chat tomorrow. We can chat whenever there's available time for everything. If you think about the task work, what can you use AI for to help you, to work alongside you? How can you gain more time back in your day by deploying AI or a resource to help you along your way? Aaron, appreciate the comment there. For me, AI becomes your personal assistant for a fraction of the cost. When you think about your day to day and we think about, well, how can AI help recruiters, salespeople? How can it help the staffing and recruiting industry? AI to me is that assistant that you can pay if you're going to pay for ChatGPT Pro or you're going to buy 4.0, whatever it might be, $20 a month, right? So how can you pay $20 a month for a personal assistant? I would cut that bill any month. And in fact, I do. But when you think about other tools that you might use, well, then it becomes your personal assistant. I just saw another question coming here. If we think about what are you doing on a day-to-day, what would you offload? And again, think about that scratch pad on the side of your desk and go back to that framework from Trisha Tampkin. How can AI help me in insert task here? Friends, AI can go so far as to helping you in the recruiting and sales process. It can also tell you what to make for dinner, knowing that you have 5 ingredients in your fridge and that you want a high protein dinner or you want a high carb dinner, right? It is your assistant. So we need to use it based on the need that we have specifically. And I actually want to pump the brakes for a second. And I believe I issued this disclaimer at the beginning of the talk, but I want to say it again. When we think about AI and we think about the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to break out into some real life examples. We're actually going to pull up ChatGPT and go through a few real life examples, what I might do if I were working with a client or my own staffing firm. I'm also going to show some examples via video and actually show, I guess they would be explainer videos for a couple products. At the end of the day, the best AI solution is fulfilling a need that you have. It is your personal assistant. It is a tool in your tech stack, in your day-to-day operations. So when we think about how it fits, honestly, the tools that I might share might not work perfect for you, and that's okay. You might love chopping video, just as a perfect example here. I don't want to spend the time chopping a 45-minute podcast into smaller clips. There are some of you on today's show who might say, listen, I love doing that. That's where I actually find a ton of fulfillment. Great. Then you wouldn't use AI for that, but there are other things that you can do. Great note from Holly here in her experience. AI, and I believe you're speaking, Holly, specifically on ChatGPT, is only as good as the prompt you write. The more detail you give, the better the result. It requires deep thought for complicated tasks. I agree. The more specific you can be in coaching it through what it should be doing, the better the output, right? It's output in, output out. So it's absolutely going to depend on what you're putting into it. If you're looking for the easy way out, you're going to get an easy way out solution. I completely agree there. Is it too late? So I asked when we started the conversation who is a beginner as it relates to AI and who is what you might consider a advanced user of AI. There was one individual who said that they're creating apps right now using AI. You are probably on the more advanced side of things. The overwhelming majority of responses said that they were on the beginner side of things. But is it too late? This is a question that I often get. It's we're sitting here, it's July 2024. ChatGPT has been around for a little bit now. Have I missed the boat? So, in doing some research ahead of the conversation, I pulled some numbers specifically for ChatGPT. Now, there are other players in the AI space. I looked specifically at ChatGPT usage on your screen right now. 17% of 30 to 44-year-olds have used ChatGPT, 15% of 18 to 29, 9% of 45 to 64-year-olds, and 5% of 65 plus have used ChatGPT. So if you're here today thinking, I've missed the boat as it relates to ChatGPT, that ship has sailed, that rocket has blasted off, whatever it might be, I'm here today to say you have absolutely not missed the boat or missed the rocket. It is just getting ready to take off. And even if you have missed the boat, I would even go so far to say that there are ways to get back on the ship. If we look at something like social media, we think about social recruiting. We have not missed the boat in terms of using LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever it might be, even though those have been around for nearly a decade, if not more. Somebody can fact check me that in the chat, but they've been around for quite some time. We just need to learn to adopt and use them how we need to use them today. Gene had a question here in the chat. What are the best AI recruiting or sourcing tools? Gene, I'm going to show you three in a little bit. I am, and I want to give this disclaimer, I am not affiliated with these brands. I'm not affiliated with these organizations. I do not get a kickback by telling you about these brands, but I was looking into them. They look pretty cool, and I wanted you to see what they look like. Find a partner. You don't need to do this alone. Friends, there's a real good methodology of if you have a gym partner, if you have a gym trainer, you are more likely to show up. If you have somebody holding you accountable, if you say your goal out loud, you're more accountable to that goal. You can find a partner as it relates to a lot of AI. You do not need to do this alone. Now, we're going to workshop as promised and use ChatGPT specifically to show some prompts and what you can do using that tool. But there are also partners and tools that are built on top of ChatGPT or Bard or other solutions where they're using that framework and then they're helping you take that to the next level. So you certainly don't need to do that alone. So some key AI tools to consider. The first, there's an AI for that. That's a website, a direct URL. If you go to there'sAIforthat.com, you type in your challenge, you type in what you're looking to do, it will literally spit out tools that are built around AI that will help you solve this problem. Bethany had a question about highlighting anything specific for sales. Gene had a question about recruiting and sourcing. Greg just said that's an awesome app. It is. I would recommend going to a tool like There's an AI for that, typing in your challenge, sales leads, driving leads, whatever it might be, recruiting, sourcing, whatever it might be. Carla, you can get the recording. We will make sure that our marketing team sends that out as soon as it's recorded. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. But when we think about key AI tools to consider, again, I'm going to share three. I think they're pretty neat, but there are countless tools and there are new tools and new players popping up in the space by the day. Again, if you're going to go to a space like Staffing World in October, you are going to see countless individuals who have AI integrations within their software who enable you to take that software a little step further. So the disclaimer, as I've said, it is very easy to say, hey, that's a new shiny object. I want it. While there are countless tools at your disposal, it is imperative that you first back up and say, okay, what is my need? What is my challenge? What is my goal? And find the tool that helps facilitate that goal, that gets you closer to that goal or helps you overcome that challenge. I want to share a quick story, not naming names. I met with a client about a year or so ago, and they very, very distinctly, and I remember this over Zoom, mapped out their entire tech stack. And then on the call, They were telling me tools within that tech stack that did the same thing. They were truly cutting a check to multiple companies for the same output. We don't want to waste money. There's no one on the planet who hates wasting money more than me. So we want to make sure everything we do has a purpose. So when we think about AI tools specifically, if there is one takeaway that I can leave you with today, it's not to chase the latest and greatest shiny object. It is instead to think about the obstacle that you're looking to overcome and find the tool that can get you there. Again, if your recruiters don't have enough hours in the day to contact all of their candidates, what's a tool that can help? If you're not finding enough leads to reach out to, what is the tool that can help? We're going to talk about a few. Let's talk about Hey Milo. And Magezi, I'm going to ask that you're my ears here. I'm going to press play on the video. We tested it ahead of the conversation. I'm hoping y'all can hear the sound. Magezi, or I guess the rest of the chat, if you can't hear the video, let me know. Nobody fibbing. If you can hear it, please don't say no because you're going to freak me out. Here we go.
Hi, Julie. My name is Sarah. I'm an AI voice agent that conducts voice screens for Hey Milo. I'm here to help you perform your best. Should we get started?
Yep, let's get started.
First, can you explain how you manage large volumes of incoming calls while ensuring high-quality service?
Yeah, managing high call volumes while keeping service high quality involves super smart scheduling, organizing calls effectively, and making sure our team is super well trained. I also listen to feedback to keep improving how I can help customers even when I'm really busy. And I also find that leveraging technology has helped me a lot.
Tell me more about how you use technology wisely in this context. What specific tools or systems do you use to help manage the calls?
I use advanced call routing software to direct calls to the appropriate department swiftly, and I employ automated systems for routine inquiries such as interactive voice response systems and AI-powered chatbots.
How do you ensure that the implementation of online chat tools and callback options doesn't compromise the quality of service?
All right, so that's about a minute into Hey Milo, and I think you get the point of what this software is going to do, specifically what this AI tool is going to use. So we are all making calls all day. From a recruiting standpoint, we are screening candidates all day. Hey Milo guarantees that your recruiters can get 4 hours back into their day by offloading those first call. Greg has a great question in the chat. I'm going to get to that, Greg. When we think about the number and the volume of calls that you can make throughout a day, how can we get to the deeper conversations with candidates? How can we get to the next level of conversation with candidates? Hey Milo, again, just one tool that is available to you, allows you to use AI to call candidates on that first touch point to use that initial screening. And as you saw, respond to the individual based on the comments that they give the AI. So it's not just a guided path of just, hey, here's 5 questions I need you to ask. It's using call and response, and it's answering and sharing new questions based on the previous response. So Greg had a concern here. My only concern is my clients will be offended with this type of resource. Greg, that might be true. And that might be very, very accurate. I today am not in any way, shape, or form trying to tell you exactly what to do. I just want to give you a couple tools and share what is out there, what's around you, right? So if your clients are going to be offended by a type of resource, obviously we don't want you to use it specifically, but what if this could get you to the deeper conversation faster? What if this can get you past the candidates who aren't ready for a conversation, who aren't ready for your team or your team can't support to get you to that next level of conversation? If we think about everything that we can do and offload, right? What are those tasks that we're doing throughout the day? Again, on that scratch pad, how can AI help me in insert task here? Well, if I'm making 6 hours of calls, and from those 6 hours of calls with applicants or candidates, let's call them applicants at that point, only 15 are qualified. So I'm making 6 hours of calls to only get to conversations that are really only worth 45 minutes of my time. I've now wasted 5 hours and 15 minutes of my day. So if a tool like this can weed through that, get me to the deeper level 45-minute conversations, well, then you can have deeper conversations with those specific people. Again, just a tool. I'm in no way affiliated with Hey Milo, just in my research. I thought it was interesting. I do want to use the chat. Anybody using it? Anybody find value in it? Anybody think, hey, this is crazy? I would never consider anything like this. Kelly wants to know if it transcribes the conversation. I believe it does, but I have another tool coming up that offers transcriptions as well. So I do not want to speak for the Hey Milo team.
Hi, Julie. My name is
MetaView. Kelly, this is a tool that will speak to your pain points. So you had said, does Milo, sorry, I just come back up here. Does Hey Milo transcribe the conversation? MetaView is AI generated interview notes. So there's a couple tools in this space specifically. I will say in my day to day, when I think of how can AI help me in insert task here for me, I am on calls with clients all day. I find mentally I cannot be as focused in the conversation if I'm typing notes. So I use a tool called read.ai specifically to take notes for me. Zoom also has one built in called Zoom Companion. I cannot speak for Microsoft Teams. I don't know if one's built into there. But the reason that I wanted to show MetaView, and I'm going to click play here in a second, is because it was built with a recruiting mindset. So it's going to give you question and answer layout very, very clearly and very distinctly, where these other tools are going to give you notes, transcriptions, things like that. From, again, my research, it looked like MetaView was built from a recruiting mindset so that you could very, very easily see your question and the answers. Gene had a note here that Read AI matches very nicely with Teams. I appreciate that note. All right, let's click play here on MetaView.
MetaView automatically captures interviews through your calendar, ATS, and video conferencing tools. As soon as the interview is complete, you get an AI-generated summary of everything that was discussed. And you can make any edits you'd like before sharing to whatever recruiting workflows you use. Get started for free at metaview.ai.
Guy had a great question. Legally, do you have to let candidates know you're using Read AI? When they join a Zoom or they join a Microsoft Teams or they join another call like this, it shows up as another participant. So they'll know that it's in the room. If you're using Zoom Companion, I know specifically with Zoom, it asks you, it says that the meeting is being recorded and it asks you whether or not you want to stay in the meeting. So there is that sort of, I'm not a lawyer. It gives you that sort of legal overview, right? Umbrella to say, listen, this is here. You're aware of it. So it is sort of doing that for you. How can it be utilized for in-person interviews? John, I think that's a great question. And I first off, I'm thinking on the fly, but you could very easily use voice to text and record all of your conversations that way in a note. I don't know how Read AI could, I don't know if there's a mobile app to listen to you if you put your phone right in the middle of the table. Again, trying to think on the fly for you here. But this works primarily, these tools are going to be over Zoom or over some sort of digital conversation. If you wanted to take notes, I know you can talk to ChatGPT using voice to text. You could, in theory, record the conversation. Again, phone on the table or microphone in front of the table. You would need a multi-directional one. This one wouldn't work specifically. But then you could certainly upload that and have it transcribed that way. All right, let's see if I can get to the last one here. Seek out.
Nothing matters more to an organization's success than great people. But searching in a sea of unhelpful data, the right talent can be hard to spot. Seek Out is the platform that thousands of organizations already trust to help them find, hire, grow, and keep great talent now and into the future. By combining the most relevant public data with your ATS and HRIS systems, Seek Out creates comprehensive profiles for internal and external talent, helping you find diverse, qualified candidates faster, even for those hard-to-fill roles that demand unique skills. But hiring is just the beginning. Seek Out helps organizations truly understand, engage, and develop their employees. The platform empowers your workforce to take charge of their own growth by exploring new skills, connections, and career paths, finding opportunities to move up instead of move on.
So Seek Out's a new tool that I heard about. I was doing a podcast with Benjamin Mena. He runs the Elite Recruiter podcast. We traded shows. So he was on Take the Stage and I went on the Elite Recruiter podcast. And he had mentioned how Seek Out is a huge tool that he uses in his workflow. I will be the first to admit to this group, it's probably the one that I know the least about, but it did look interesting in the sense of it is incredibly difficult to find great talent right now. And if it is going to build a persona based on different profiles and a different identity that individuals have throughout the I guess, internet, it was interesting enough for me to bring it to a conversation like today. So again, when we think about finding the right tool for the job, I shared 3 with you. We had some good dialogue in the chat about a couple others. It really comes down to where you're feeling friction, where you're feeling like the tasks are getting monotonous. How can AI work alongside you? We had a pretty enthusiastic chat when I said, do you think AI is going to take your job? Someone actually said that it would be silly to think that. I would agree. Now, I think individuals who use AI are going to have a leg up on individuals who do not, because we're essentially working with personal assistant. We're essentially working with extra versions of ourselves to make us better, faster, stronger. So if there are tools that can help you in your day-to-day, then certainly
Nothing matters.
using those in ours. Let's workshop. I want to open up ChatGPT and do what they tell you not to do in presenting 101, go live with some questions. So what I did is I prepared some prompts into ChatGPT specifically, and I want to show individuals, you specifically, what I might do if I were trying to start fresh. So again, I pay for ChatGPT for $20 a month. It's worth it for me. I'll tell you why I bought it, because I was paying for it and then I stopped. Today, I was prepping for the call and I had asked too many questions into ChatGPT and I hit my quota for the day. So I would not be able to do this example without the pro version. Can AI help with reviewing resumes? Karen, I think that's a great question, and I'm actually going to pitch that back to the chat. So there are 170 of you on today's call. Is anybody using an AI tool to help review resumes? Couple no's, couple yeses, couple no's, but I'd like to. Susan, you said that AI is helping you review resumes. Copilot does that, Dave is saying. Susan, you said specifically you are using it. Hey, Todd, good friend of the show. Appreciate you being here. Todd saying that you can write a good prompt to summarize the resume. Todd, I appreciate that. Also, Todd, shot you an email a little while ago. Would love to chat with you. So give me a call when you get a chance, buddy. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So yeah, you can use a prompt to summarize the resume, and maybe we could do something like that similar here in a second. Why don't we actually try that right now? Let's go to Google. I think that's a good use case. So let's type in sample. I know you can't see screen two. Sample digital director of digital marketing resume. That's an image. I'm not going to be able to copy that one. Let's see what I can do here. Friends, this is why they tell you not to go live. I can't copy it. And I don't have a resume on my computer because I like working at Haley Marketing. All right, can't do that one for you. Sorry. Next one. Anyways, if I were to use ChatGPT specifically, here's what I might do. So question 1, I'm just going to copy them over here because typing live is worse than actually using the internet live. So I said, I'm a light industrial staffing firm owner in Buffalo, New York. Our name is Brad's Staffing Firm. We're committed to excellence and quality. Gave him a little bit about me. And I said, knowing who we are and the clients we serve, what are the biggest challenges of light industrial facility managers in Buffalo, New York right now? So friends, I know right now, and this is going to go down a sales path specifically. So there's somebody who asked about sales a little while ago, but this is going to go down a sales path. Right now, it's incredibly hard to drive orders. I know in my day-to-day, I have calls with clients pretty much regularly throughout the day. The overwhelming majority of those calls are about how we can't drive new business. And either A, people aren't hiring, they already have a staffing partner that they're happy with. So I want to know, what are the biggest challenges of light industrial facility managers in Buffalo, New York? So this gave us back 10 different answers: labor shortages, supply chain, tech advancements, workplace safety. Great. So I might ask a follow-up question like this. So I'd like to put together a 12-week email marketing campaign that touches on these pain points. What are 2 possible subject lines with bullet list ideas that I could include in the email that speak on each of these pain points? So now we're talking about navigating challenges with labor shortages, and we're going to talk about potential subject lines. Now, friends, AI to me is my personal assistant, right? So when I think about brainstorming, when I think about concepting, I want to be in a room with people who can share like-minded ideas So of course I want to lean on Team Haley before I use something like ChatGPT, but this now gets my creativity flowing, right? So if I want to reach out to light industrial plant facility managers, right? And I want to reach out, I don't want to talk about their staffing sales needs right now. I'm not trying to sell in that opening email, but I might talk about the current state of the labor market in Buffalo. I might talk about attracting and retaining skilled workers. I don't think I'd even talk about why you need to partner with a reliable staffing firm right now, because candidly, they should already know that, right? They already know you partner with a reliable staffing firm because you need to keep your machines running. So we want to kind of coach through this, right? So we come up with some subject lines. From there, I'm gonna do something like this. My blog should also include articles that support these topics. Provide 15 topic ideas, but think outside the box, right? These ideas should be unique and different than what you've thought of before. We're just sort of touching the tip of the iceberg on this one. But if I'm thinking about a comprehensive, holistic marketing campaign, if I want to get in front of a decision maker in a plant or a facility in Buffalo, New York, email is not going to be enough. We just talked about on Insights, part of the Secrets of Staffing Success podcast. Matt Lozar and I just dropped an episode this week where we talked about how it takes 15 touches just for a prospect to know you exist, to know that you might even want to do business with them. The challenge with that, friends, 90% of individuals give up at the fourth touch. We are prospecting. 50% of people give up after the first attempt. 90% give up after the fourth attempt. We need to play the long game when we think about driving sales. And my mindset's kind of shifting here away from AI and more sales driven. And I can feel that. And hopefully you catch the wave on this. Right. So when we think about, okay, now we need to stay in front of people 12 to 15 times. That might be a mix of calls, emails, content, whatever it might be. Okay, question 4. I know a lot of my current prospects are already working with a staffing partner. What are 5 reasons they might consider switching to my staffing firm? So this is a question that I wanted just to show, right? And this kind of gets us out of order in terms of the hierarchy of how we're funneling here in ChatGPT. But let's assume that all of your prospects are already working with somebody, and it might be safe to say that they are, right? Whether or not they're going to tell you that, staffing isn't a secret, right? People understand that staffing firms exist, fundamentally that they exist. So we need to figure out the reasons that people might switch. And if we can find out why they would switch, well, then we could figure out content to create around that switch. So what are related questions I could use to interview my team on these topics? And here's where I like a question like this. So when we think about bringing the human back into the staffing industry, and this is specifically why I wanted to talk about this specific instance in ChatGPT. This whole conversation, we're talking about how to offload tasks. This right here, friends, is how we bring it back to human. Fundamentally, everybody in the chat, when I asked earlier, everybody, but I think one person said that AI is not going to replace them. Well, if AI is not going to replace you, then we need to make sure we're doing everything that we can to differentiate you from your competitor, from other sales reps, from other recruiters. And how can we do that? Well, by developing a personal brand. This is not a personal branding conversation. I could talk personal branding until I am blue in the face. We've given talks on personal branding in the past, but we now know, okay, in Buffalo, New York, the 5 reasons people might consider switching to a staffing firm. Now we know 15 different questions that are related to that topic. Let's get out a camera. Let's get out that trusty production studio in your pocket with your iPhone and ask your team these questions. And now we have a content marketing strategy. We have video that can be shared on social. We have blogs that can be written from that video. We can send these to people. We can use these in InMail, but it's very, very personal, and it puts the human back into recruiting. All right, where are we at? This is a good one. And I actually stole this idea from friend of the show, Brad Smith. So we're going to come on a first serve basis here. Somebody tell me the name of their staffing firm in the chat window. Go. Oh, I'm sorry. Name and city. Wow, John, quick. John was ready with that one. Hey, Dylan, welcome. Good to see you, bud. I appreciate you joining. All right, we're gonna go with John. John hit enter first, everyone. I appreciate you, but My golly, Miss Molly. John had that one ready to go. Employ partners from Atlanta. All right. So what we're going to do, who are the biggest local competitors to employ partners in Atlanta, Georgia, and what are their key differentiators? This should spit out some information for us. Focus people, we got labor staffing, we have Crawford Thomas recruiting, we have Hire Dynamics. Some of y'all might be on this call. That's okay. And the RMN agency. Great. So we now have their key differentiators based on what's listed on their website, right? So ChatGPT is searching websites. It's combing the internet to give us this information. Now, from there, oh no, I didn't copy and paste this one. All right, let's do this. I can save this. Hang on one second because I had it in Slack. All righty. Follow-up question. Knowing our key differentiators compared to our competitors, what are 10 topics our sales team should be talking about on social media to be different and stand out from the others? John, I could send you this afterwards too. No use doing the homework twice. So I appreciate you reaching out, and we will send this to you shortly after. So given your differentiators based on what was identified by ChatGPT, based on differentiators of your competition, this is what your team could be speaking on in calls to differentiate you from the competition based on, again, what ChatGPT has outlined. One more. From this list of 10, I want to do one more thing. What are 20 related direct questions I could ask my team to film their response for social media? So what we did first is we understand the key differentiators of our organization and our competitors. Then from there, I want to know what topics our sales team should be talking about on social. But knowing what they should be talking about, I have found is not enough. So I want to know specifically what questions I could ask my team as it relates to my differentiators. So now, John, you could get out an iPhone, find somebody in the office, and you could say, hey, how does our understanding of the Buffalo, New York job market benefit our clients? And you're realizing something here really quickly. And somebody had just asked this in the chat. How do you coach ChatGPT to know who you are, right? How do you recommend training your AI to know your business and style? That was from Heidi. It learns you over time. So because of my initial question saying that I'm a staffing firm in Buffalo, New York, it's getting a little bit confused here. And that would come with correcting and prompting and going back through it. But John, to your point, how does our understanding of the Buffalo, New York job market benefit our clients? Great. Answer that on video. What steps do we take to create a customized staffing solution for each client? Great. Answer that on video. What makes our vetting process different from other staffing firms? Let's really talk about that commitment to quality. How do we ensure the quality of employees we place with our clients? This is now 20 different pieces of content that your team can create. You can record these videos. You can then use them across social. You could use a tool like Talent Scribe from Haley Marketing to even turn all of this into blog content based on the questions that you're asking, based on the responses that you're getting, and turn that now into content. That can then spiral out into more and more pieces of content and more resources. So again, friends, just a little bit of ChatGPT. We're at 249. Let me pop back over to Lunch with Haley. That was fun. And I want to ask any questions, anything else we should talk about before I let you go in 10 minutes. And what I might do is just recap real quick because we went down a path of AI today. So let's recap real quick here, right? Everyone get that? Here we go. When I talked about the elephant in the room, is AI an existential threat to the staffing and recruiting industry? Y'all agreed with me. No, it is not. I would say it is an existential threat if you are afraid of change, if you're reluctant to change. It is an absolutely massive opportunity for those of you that embrace change. And just by being here on today's call, I know that you are a growth mindset individual and not a fixed mindset individual, and you're going to embrace and adopt with AI. We then talked about how AI can support you in insert task here, a lesson that I learned from Trisha Tampkin on our episode of Take the Stage. Friends, this is where I would propose you get started. We don't want to force fit a solution. Instead, we want to think about our day-to-day. Sit down on Monday with a scratch pad and write down every single thing that you do from 8 to 12, lunch, 1 to 5. Write down every single task and think about the repetition that you're seeing and think about how AI can support you in insert task here. We talked about whether or not it's too late. Absolutely not. And then we talked about some key tools. Again, I am not affiliated with any of these organizations in any way, shape, or form. I just like to share cool ideas when I see them. Hey, Milo, talking about having that initial phone call with somebody to get things going a little bit faster so that your team can have deeper conversations. MetaView, an AI transcription built for recruiters and built for interviews so that you have questions and answers. We also talked about Read AI. We talked about Zoom Companion, and those were the two that we also talked about. And then we talked about Seek Out and how you might be able to use this tool specifically to find great talent and hard to find talent. Now we workshopped. Boy, did we workshop. Before I let you go, I want to talk about Smart Ideas 4, 7 hours, 14 speed talks on September 17th. I believe that date is right. Magezi, I know you're still my eyes in the chat window here. Please confirm September 17th for me. I would appreciate it. Smart Ideas 4 on September 17th. Thank you very much, Margaret. We will send the link to the presentation, and we will also send the video to everybody. So you'll get the video, you'll get the slides. I don't really use a lot of slides when I present, so you'll get the video, you'll get slides, you'll get everything just by being here today. If you point your phone at the QR code, open up your camera, point at the QR code. I'm sure we all know how to do that at this point, thanks to COVID-19 and never having to touch another food menu at a restaurant again. You could register specifically for Smart Ideas 4. Friends, I will be the first to admit I am not going to be there all day. 9 to 5 is a long time for me to look at my laptop or look at a second screen. And I have calls that day I already know about. And I did say my wife and I are expecting a second baby. I might not even be here on the 17th. But if you register today by scanning this QR code, you will get access to all of the talks. So you can come and go as you please. It is over Zoom. You can watch one, you can watch them all. But by signing up, you get access to come in and out throughout the day. And you'll also get first opportunity at the recordings when those are finalized. Smart Ideas 4, if you haven't joined 1, 2, or 3, I had a client yesterday. I said, hey, did you sign up for Smart Ideas 4? And he asked me, hey, how many of these have you done in the past? This is our 4th one, Smart Ideas 4. If you haven't seen any in the past, consider it like TED Talks for the staffing industry. We have 14 speed talks. They're going to be about 20 minutes each. What you're going to get is insights and information from Team Haley, and then also countless individuals outside Team Haley. I'm super excited about the speaker lineup. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you right to it. And one more time, if you're not subscribed and listening to the Secrets of Staffing Success, the leading podcast for the staffing industry, I would encourage you to check that out. I host a show here at Haley Marketing every other week with our director of recruitment marketing, Matt Lozar. We host a show called Insights, where we talk about what's working in digital and recruitment marketing. And on the off weeks of that, I host a show called Take the Stage, where I bring on conference caliber speakers to share what they're seeing in their lessons so that you have conference caliber thoughts and speakers in a podcast every other week. You can go to haleymarketing.com, click on resources, or you can search for Secrets of Staffing Success on your preferred podcast player. Or if you scan that QR code, it's going to take you right to your website on our phone. And then from there, if you pull up one of the episodes, all of the subscribe links are at the bottom of it. So whether you listen on Apple Music, you listen on Spotify, you listen wherever it might be, there's a button for you. All right. With that, I'm going to open it up to any sort of questions that you might have. And I can stay on the line here for a few minutes. Feel free to use that chat window. Otherwise, thank you for joining us for today's Lunch with Haley. We'll see you next month, and we will see you soon for Smart Ideas 4. There it is. Got it. A lot of thank yous in the chat. I appreciate you being here. I know your time is valuable. There are a lot of places you could have been for the last hour. I appreciate you spending that hour with me. Hopefully there were at least 1 or 2 takeaways that you have that you can deploy this afternoon. But again, I appreciate you being here. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. Appreciate you being here. Thanks. John had a question here. Do you think AI will be more helpful working with, hang on, you moved, John, sorry. Another chat came in and it moved you. Do you think AI will be more helpful working with higher level professionals or lower skilled light industrial staff? John, I don't think it matters, to be completely honest with you. And again, this is just my take on this specific episode of Lunch with Haley. Others might think differently. AI is what you make it. AI is here to help you with your challenges and help you move closer towards your goals. Whether you're targeting the C-suite, you're targeting a picker packer, you're targeting anybody in between, not to sort of alienate or create some sort of spectrum like that, because I did not want to do that. But whether you're, let's do it this way, nurses or welders, right? Drastically different jobs. AI is here to help you in your day to day. You need to first figure out where you're experiencing pain and then find a solution that helps you alleviate some of that pain. So for me, yeah, I don't think it matters who you're targeting or how you're using it, so long as you're thinking about how you can use it. Good question. Yeah. So Karen had a question. How would it work for AI to review resumes? Still not clear about that. Aaron, give me a second here. Let me see, or Karen, I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find you one. I'm trying to find a sample text-based resume. How to create the challenge when you search for a resume. Does anybody know how to find a fake resume? Let's ask that to the chat. So when I look for one, I'm just getting an image and I need to copy the text out of it. And I don't want to use AI can make one. I mean, Dylan, that's a heck of a question right there, right? Create me a sample resume for a director of digital marketing. Let's see what happens there, right? Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Let's see if we can take this start to finish using AI. Yeah, David asked about the full name of Take the Stage podcast. So, David, what you're going to do is if you search for Secrets of Staffing Success on your preferred podcast player, so that's Apple, Spotify, whatever it might be, Haley Marketing has a podcast, let's call it family, called Secrets of Staffing Success. Under that podcast family, we have Insights and we have Take the Stage. So again, if you search for Secrets of Staffing Success on your preferred podcast player, you'll be able to get episodes of both Take the Stage and Insights. We drop them every Monday and the shows alternate. So this week was an episode of Insights. Next week, I have an interview dropping with Jay Ramos, who is the president of the California Staffing Professionals. So that episode will come out on Monday. But again, for anybody interested, any of the Haley podcasts are all under the Secrets of Staffing Success umbrella. And then from there, you'll get Insights and Take the Stage. Okay, so this was a question of how can we turn a resume, how can we use ChatGPT to summarize a resume? How would it work for AI to review resumes? And Dylan had the idea of using AI to make a resume. Okay, so Karen, let's assume this is the resume that you received via Indeed. Okay, so this resume is now in your inbox. I would say something like using the following resume, please summarize this for me into 5 bullet points so that I get the main takeaways from this document. I'm thinking on the fly. I might use a better prompt going forward if I really thought about that and had a little more time. But then we're going to paste the resume back in. I will say, and this is very, 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 very critical. And this is a lesson I learned at NAPS last year from Jason and Trisha from More Essentials. I would never, ever, ever, ever paste in real information up here. I would never post in the person's name, address, city, state, email into AI because this is learning about people as it goes. I would not want to do that. So I would have cut that, but this is a sample one. So then what I have here now is 5 bullet points based on the resume. Could you, in theory, pull this out looking at the resume quickly? Maybe. And I'm sure there are tools that do this for you a little bit quicker. We were just trying to kind of think on the fly and be fast with it. But this is one way you could, in theory, use AI to sort of comb your resumes a little bit faster. seeing this, I'm almost certain there's a tool that's going to do this for you and identify if whether or not individuals are right for the job. In finger quotes, because there's obviously soft skills that we need to recruit on and we need to follow up on. But on paper, are people right for the role? Dylan had a comment here. The big issue in engineering is that some candidates are using the job description to generate a resume that perfectly suits the description. So it's sort of foggy. I would understand that. Yeah. Any other questions? Also, Dylan, I'm just now realizing who you are. I appreciate you joining today. Any other questions? If not, we'll call it a day. All right, everybody, we're going to call it. That is our episode of Lunch with Haley for the month of July. Thank you for joining me this afternoon as we talked about AI and the future of AI as it relates to staffing and recruiting. If there's any questions, anything that I might be able to do to help you in your day-to-day, feel free to connect on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me. Reach out to the team here at Haley Marketing. Go to info@haleymarketing.com to do that. And of course, if there's anything that we can help with, you're certainly going to see a closing window here. Let me know what you thought of the talk and let us know how we can help. I appreciate you. Take care.